Hey guys! So today's video is going to be a little different than videos I usually do. I'm going to be giving you some tips and advice on being a traveling makeup artist. So I think this video would be great for people who, if you're already a makeup artist and you work from home or you work in a salon and you're thinking about taking your work on the road, or maybe you already are a traveling makeup artist, which most are, maybe this video will give you a few more helpful tips on how to just be more prepared and things like that, because I have learned a lot in the past few months about what to do and what not to do and how to be prepared, and there's a lot, trust me. So this video might be a little bit long, hopefully not too long, but yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. Alright, so some of this stuff might be really obvious, so if it's something you already know, just forgive me. I'm just going back to the basics. Now, you should always look like a makeup artist no matter what, especially if you're going out on the job. If you show up to somebody's house and you're not looking like a makeup artist, that's going to be a problem. I would suggest having definitely a full face of makeup, nothing too crazy or dramatic, and definitely be wearing all black and have your nails painted like a neutral color. And I'm going to tell you why that uniform is appropriate for makeup artists. Basically, you want to be wearing all black because if you're getting somebody ready and they're getting their pictures taken because somebody's like, oh, I want to take pictures of you getting ready, you don't want a flower print top because that's going to take away from the bride or whoever it is you're getting ready. You don't want your shirt to be distracting. Also, if you paint your nails bright red and your nails chip, that's going to be distracting in the photos. So having a nude color, if the nail polish chips, it's okay because it won't be as noticeable. So if you're holding a brush up to somebody's face and there's a big giant piece missing off of your red nail polish, then it just helps. So that's what I would say. Just always try to look presentable, look your best, and be professional and all that business. So one of the main differences between doing makeup at a salon or at home is, you're going to be traveling, so you have to think about the cost for travel. Now, you can do this whatever way you want to do it. You can do a service charge for going to a certain town. You can do a $20 or $40 service charge, or you can include it in your full price, or you could do per mile. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I charge for makeup and for traveling because I'm just not comfortable with that yet, but I can give you suggestions on what I think you should charge. I'm from New England, I'm from the United States, and I think for something around this area, a good solid price to charge per mile is actually 56 cents, but you can charge 50 cents if that's something if you want just an even number. I think 50 cents is perfect. That's going to account for things like your oil changes, your gas, your wear and tear on your car and your tires and things like that. So yeah, if you want to charge per mile, 50 cents is a good amount in my personal opinion, but you can do whatever you want. But definitely make sure that you're getting paid to drive, because you don't want to just say I'm going to charge you $50 to do your makeup and then not think about the gas that it's taking to get out there, or undersell yourself. Well, you know what I mean, right? You don't want to cheat yourself. You definitely want to get paid for the wear and tear that you're doing on your car. So think about how you want to charge for that and make it clear up front that, I'll get into that a little bit later, but make sure the person knows that if you're driving all the way to their house for a trial, you need to get paid for traveling out there. This one might be obvious, but you need to have money on you. That's really important. So if you don't have a lot of money to spare, then you might not want to be traveling yet. You're going to want at least $15 to $30 on you. The more the better, but $40 is good to have on you at all times to pay for things like gas emergencies. If you get stuck in traffic and use way more gas than you're expecting to use, then you want to have money on you. That's really important. Money for tolls, unless you have an easy pass, but either way it's going to cost money for that. So cash for things like that. And then if you're driving home and you're starving and you have another hour to go and you can't wait, you might want to have cash to grab a coffee and some food. I'm going to talk more about that later, but about packing yourself food. But definitely have cash on you for emergencies. When you're out, when you're far away from home and you don't really know where you're going, anything could happen, and it's always important to have money just to protect yourself. So yeah, definitely have some cash on you. The cost is definitely something you're going to want to discuss up front, and I'll get more into contracts towards the end of this video. But if you're just going to somebody's house for a trial and you're not ready to do the contract thing yet, and if you're okay with this, you want to make sure that you're going to get paid for going out there. If you're traveling 60 miles somewhere to do a trial on somebody, even if your trials are free, you still want to get paid for that day of service. If your trials are like $20 to apply makeup or whatever it is, you want to get paid for the time, the cost per mile to go out there, or your service charge or whatever, and applying the makeup and hair or whatever you're doing, and you want to get paid on that day, because this is a trial. If this person doesn't hire you, you could lose out on that money. So you definitely want to discuss up front, I need to get paid this amount at this time when I come out to see you, because whether they decide to hire you or not, you're still going out there for the trial, and whether you say the trial is free, it's your time, your money, your life, whatever. You want to make sure that they know very clear ahead of time when, where, how you get paid. And this might be uncomfortable for you to talk about if you don't have a lot of experience with doing this. Like, I know in the beginning I was like kind of wishy-washy about the money. I was like, I mentioned it once, like, oh, okay, you can pay me $40 to come out there. Well, guess what happens when I go out there and talk about the money only a little bit? I go to the person's house, even though it's local, so it's fine, but went to the person's house, spent 3 hours at their house trying makeup, and then I find out afterwards, like, oh, how much am I supposed to pay you? I tell them, I ran out of checks, can I mail it to you? And little me was like, yeah, sure, you can mail me the money. And so I missed out on 3 hours. I never got the money, obviously. And so, you know, luckily that only happened to me one time. I learned my lesson quick. Talk about the money up front, even though it's kind of weird and uncomfortable, and you don't want to make it seem like it's all about the money, but you need to protect yourself. So speaking of protecting yourself from getting ripped off, you're also going to want to protect your own safety, especially if you're alone like I am most often. If somebody is asking you to go into an area, like, you know your own area better than anyone else. If there's a town or a part of town that you're not really comfortable with going in because of, you know, safety issues, you heard that it's like not a safe place to be, especially alone, then just know when to say no. Like, you don't have to say yes every time. Hopefully you're not just like doing it because you need the money or something, but just be careful. Don't put yourself in a position that you could, you know, that's potentially dangerous. There are certain places that I just won't go. Sometimes if I get a request and if I haven't heard of the town, like, I will just ask my boyfriend, like, hey, have you ever heard of this place? Do you think it's okay? And then, you know, if it's like not a very safe place, then I just won't go. And then also know when to say no for your distance too. Like, for me, I won't go outside of like a 60-mile radius. I mean, it really depends. Sometimes I will if it's like worthwhile. I'll go a little bit further than that. I mean, that's my personal preference, but if you're okay with going like, I don't know, maybe 100 miles outside of your radius, then that's cool. If it's for like 1 or 2 people, then it might not be worth it for you. So it's totally fine to say no. If you do say yes and that's okay with you, just, you know, make sure that you're getting compensated for your travel. And then on top of that, if you want to charge like let's say there's a lot of traffic and you're stuck in it for like 3-4 hours, maybe you want to charge a certain amount per hour that you're driving, if that's something that you're comfortable with. But you don't always have to say that you'll do everything. It's not really necessary, and sometimes it's just not worth it. So just kind of use your own judgment when it comes to that. It can be kind of boring to be driving alone for that long. And I think, you know, I really, really like what I do, but if I could change one thing about it, it would probably be like when I'm driving, I wish I could just at least have my family with me. So yeah, that's just something to think about. This is another thing that I'm going to discuss in the contracts part later, but you definitely want to discuss staying up front. And this kind of goes for wedding parties. Like, if the bride wants you to stay for the ceremony in case touch-ups are needed, that's something that you're going to want to put in your contract, or at least, you know, definitely talk about up front. Because, like, let's say they're expecting that you're staying like through the ceremony in case they need more makeup or more touch-ups or a change of makeup or whatever. This might be kind of obvious too, but that's something that you're going to want to discuss, or at least have in writing on your contract. Whether it's something that you're willing to do or not, it's something that needs to be talked about. And the way I do things is that I have a bridal package where, it's a certain price and everything's included. And in that bridal package, it says staying during the ceremony in case touch-ups are needed. And then usually if the person does not select the bridal package, then I'm not going to stay. But these are all things that need to be known from the get-go. Because if you have plans and you got to get to another job and you want to leave and they're like, where are you going? I need you, then that's just going to be problems for you. Try to avoid that. If you sign up for a job that is like really big and it's not something that you can do alone, but you still want to do it, you might want to look for an assistant. Hopefully you already have an assistant. I think it would be really cool to have somebody else working with me all the time. I don't, unfortunately. I think that would be awesome. But whenever I have a job that's too big for me, I charge a certain amount for, I'll charge the client a fee for an assistant, but what happens is they'll pay the fee and then I have to look for an assistant, and then I give the assistant a check when on the day that the service is performed or whatever. So I will be doing the deals with the assistant, but the client will have like an assistant fee that they have to pay per assistant. So if I have like a limited time to get the people ready, or if there's more people than I can handle on my own, then I will need somebody else. And that's something that you're going to want to think about too. You can't really just say yes to doing makeup for 9 people. If you're just like one person, are you gonna like do it for 10 hours, or are you really gonna do it all day, or are you gonna have somebody come with you, or are you gonna meet somebody there? You need to make sure the person is reliable. You might want to make sure they're certified if that's something that's really important to you. You want to do a little background check, make sure that you see their work and stuff, so to make sure everything is, sorry about that little twitch, to make sure everything is legit and everything checks out, especially when you're dealing with somebody that you've never met before, which unfortunately for me is the circumstances. So I have to do a lot of research before I just have anybody come with me. But hey, if you're in the market to be an assistant, just kidding, not really. Yeah, so next on the agenda is your travel kit. Now, obviously you have to take your kit with you, and what you keep it in is entirely up to you. I have like a rolling suitcase, but not everything, like I always bring this fold-up table with me, and if you've ever seen my makeup kit videos, then you would have seen my little fold-up table. It's pretty awesome actually. It's from Target, and it's high enough to where like I don't always have to bend over and reach for the stuff that I'm trying to use. It's small, it's compact, and it's just awesome. So I bring that, and then I also bring my stuff. And so if you're used to working at home or at a salon, maybe you have like a 5-gallon jug of hand sanitizer. You're gonna wanna get a smaller hand sanitizer to take with you. And that just goes for everything. Think smart, don't make things harder for you, make it easier. You might wanna change the way your kit is. Instead of having like 10 tubes of lipstick or however many you have, you might wanna get little, oh my god, I'm gonna be right back because I'm gonna show you what I have for my travel stuff. Work smarter, not harder, right guys? So instead of bringing this hand sanitizer, because like you're not gonna need this much and that's ridiculous, this is what I keep at home, and then this is what I take with me. It's obviously, it's smaller, it's lighter, it's easier and better and all that business. And then this is just another thing, but you're going to want to take your alcohol with you, and instead of having something big and obnoxious, you might want to get one of these little bottles. Make sure it's labeled. Mine's all rubbed off. I need to rewrite that, but this is really convenient because the one that I keep at home is a little wider and more obnoxious. Yeah, and then as far as the makeup goes, you might want to invest in some of these. You do not have to get the expensive brands if that's not what you want to do, but I have a couple of these, and this is the MAC Preferred Pinks because pink is a common color for lipsticks. People like it. I have another one that's in the plums too, but anywho, so yeah, so you get 6 lipsticks and it comes in this little compact case, pretty awesome, and you might want to invest in some Do It All palettes. I have this one, and then I also have the warm neutrals, which pretty much works for everybody. Like if somebody really wants a pop of color, I do have, so I have the warm neutrals, and then I have this palette. This one does have my black, gray, white, some browns. I have amber lights in here, and then for pops of color, I have my purple, blue, green, and yeah, so it's pretty awesome. It does a lot of things. So that's nice. That's something that you might want to think about with your travel kit. Just work smarter, not harder, and try to compact things. Don't bring 10 foundation bottles. Try to figure out how you can get your foundations to, you know, just think. Think about what you need to do. One last thing before I get into the important stuff, which is the contracts. You need to pack yourself some food and drinks, a couple bars, some water, just because you might not have time to eat in between clients. You should, and you know, they probably would want you to, but I don't always think to eat because I'm just always go, 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 and by the time I'm finished with a long day, like I'm starving, and it's not always convenient to like go to the store and get something. Just make sure you have like some food in your pocketbook, and bring a bottle of water too, maybe a couple or whatever you like to drink, because not everybody is going to offer you something to drink. You shouldn't expect it. Most of the time people offer a drink, but not usually food. I don't know if I would actually take food if someone was like, hey, you can eat my stuff. I don't know. I have before, but like it's weird. So I just like to have my own food, and yeah, you don't want to starve. Just make sure you bring some stuff to eat, because you might be gone for like 4, 8, 16 hours. You know, we really don't know. So just be prepared when it comes to that. So now down to the good stuff. The contracts, super duper important. I'm going to leave my email in the description box, because if you would like to see a copy of my contract to get ideas or to figure out what you should do, then I will be happy to email it to you. I think they're really important to have. Reason why contracts are important, it goes back to everything I was saying before about how things need to be discussed up front, especially when it comes to the cost. And I know it doesn't have to be all about the money. You don't want it to seem like it is, but at the same time, you're protecting yourself. Protect your hiney from ripped off. I just don't want that to happen to anybody. Always have a contract, and like I said, email me if you have any specific questions. I'd be happy to share. I really hope I covered everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long-winded and all over the place, but yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video.